like to go from that into some southern Indian archaeology. Today there is news all over the place about Kiradi and places like that, and we'd like to understand what is happening over there, what are the artifacts being found there, what are the claims being made by the Tamil Nadu government of archaeological department and so on. So I'd like to talk about Kiradi to Adichanallur. This is a bird's eye view of the site in Kiradi. So Kiradi is a site on the banks of the Vaigai river. It's around outside of Madurai, maybe about 20 miles or so outside of Madurai. I can't show it to you on the map over here, it's here, but I can't locate where Madurai is over here. So from this paper over here, excavations at Kiradi between 2014 and 2016, from this I got these pictures over here. This is a very interesting picture because it shows that terracotta pipes. Where did we last see pipes in the Indian civilization? We saw that in Harappa. We saw that in the Indus Valley civilization, drainage systems, pipes, and so on and so forth. So when the archaeologists saw this, they were super excited. They said that is this somehow linked with the Harappan technology and so on and so forth. We have not seen this earlier in some of the other Indian sites. So that's why there was a lot of exuberance in Indian press when this came out. And there is a lot of brick lining over here, as well as drainage. I didn't include those pictures, also drainage pictures and so on and so forth. And a lot of other finds, things like seals, some terracotta figurines and pots and so on. This excited a lot of people because they found pottery shards with Tamil Brahmi on them. And you find these things over here, Tamil Brahmi, and this is very interesting, a fish. If you remember the Indus Valley script, you remember that one of the most frequent signs you see there is a fish. And so seeing a fish over here was once again exciting to the archaeologists who made very, very quick connections trying to talk about Harappa and so on and so forth. And they also found some jewelry and some artifacts like a comb, ivory comb, some beads and a pestle and a mortar and those kinds of common things you expect to see in a civilization. And some more that hints at industry in Kiradi, things like buttons and weaving industry, glass beads, game pieces. One might remember game pieces from Harappa also, and you see that there are game pieces over here. And so again, terracotta figurines and some bone points which might have used for hunting and so on. And some again agate beads. In 2017, they did the carbon dating at Kiradi. So the news report said they had dug up to 4.5 meters at Kiradi. They took carbon samples from the middle layer from the 2-meter depth, and they sent it off to Florida for carbon dating, and it came back with 3rd century BCE. So when this result came, I proposed that the terminus layer of Kiradi should be around 3000 BCE. I did a linear curve fitting, and I said that if the top layer is 2017 and 2 meters down to 300 BCE, then taking a straight line fit, then at 4.5 meters, it's got to be 3000 BCE. So very recently in 2019, they released 6 more carbon dating results, which they took at various depths. They took it at 200 centimeter depth, at 353 centimeter depth, and they came around with some dates of 6th century BC and 3rd century BC. This is the carbon sample. They sent it off to a lab in Florida once again, and I fit 2 lines to these things, and I'm not going to talk about the mathematics and so on. But the bottom line is I said that from the present year around 2000, if you take the first line, it seems to go until around this point for the 2-meter depth. Then if you take the earlier curve, it goes down. So 4.5 meters is over here. That corresponds to 3000 BCE. Whereas if you take the new line, it terminates somewhere over here around 800 BCE. So I said the range for the lowest strata of Kiradi can range from 821 BC to 3000 BC, corresponding to 4.5 meters depth. And I'm suggesting that we need to be more optimistic. So the true date can be anywhere from 800 to 1000 BC. So where is the real date? In order to do that, I'm suggesting that let's take a look at what happened in what we found in Bet Dwaraka. How many of you know where Bet Dwaraka is? It's right, it's an island outside Dwaraka, right? So in Bet Dwaraka, Professor S.R. Rao, he had found pottery inscriptions that looked like a transitive script between the Indus script to Brahmi. So they called it a transitive script, and he decoded the script and suggested that it tells something. We'll talk about this a little later on. In Kiradi too, they found that there's a lot of what they call graffiti, and this graffiti seems to bear resemblance to Indus signs, and that caused a lot of excitement too. And so I am suggesting that if there was contact between the regions via sea trade in a very early period of time and sharing knowledge of writing, this is possible. And given that we have a transitive Indus to Brahmi inscription in Bet Dwaraka in 1500 BCE, I'm taking the average of these two and I'm saying that Kiradi is probably 1900 BCE. That is probably the date for the terminus layer over there. So from that we'll move on to, we talked about this earlier, in southern India you also have Arikamedu glass factories over there that has been dated around 300 BC and maybe even older over there. One more archaeological site in the south that is called Adichanallur. So Adichanallur is near Thoothukudi in southern India, and they found a lot of things. For example, they found urn burials and gold diadems, they call pattam. And even now in southern India, even in some places in northern India, during wedding times, you find the bridegroom, he wears a head ornament. So that basically is an old custom, very, very, very old custom in India. And you find that even in southern India, there's gold leaf pattam over there. They found what they call the bronze of Mother Goddess. And this really gets me because this is a word that is introduced by the Marxists. In India, we have nothing like Mother Goddess. We know what Shakti is. All of us everywhere know what Shakti is. We have no clue what Mother Goddess is. So, but at any rate, this is called Mother Goddess, and it is dated to around 1500 BCE. They found skulls of foreigners from Southeast China, Mediterranean Africa around 2500 BCE in this part of India. The skulls show abnormalities. What are these abnormalities? It is reminiscent of deep sea divers. If you go deep sea diving, then there is some nitrogen pockets that happen in the bone, causes some changes in the structure, causes holes in your skull literally. And because of that, they know there were deep sea divers for pearls. They were pearl fishermen, right? They go deep diving, pick up a pearl and come. So they studied 170 skeleton remains, and they say Caucasoid constitutes 35%, Mongoloid 30%, Negroid 14%, and so on, what they call Dravidian 8% in mixed rates. However, this paper also says that the population changed by 500 BCE. Or whoever was there earlier, 2500 years BC, 2500 BCE, that is entirely changed by 500 BCE. So, way back in 2005 when the tsunami hit southern India, it also uncovered certain things at Mahabalipuram. And one of the things it uncovered was a temple that is 2200 years old, that is 200 BC. So what am I doing so far? We talked about Kiradi. We talked about Kiradi and we said that the declared dates are 600 BCE. However, I'm proposing 1900 BC for the reason of Brahmi and transitive Brahmi and so on. From there we went to Adichanallur. We went to Adichanallur and said, look at the artifacts they found over there. And now I'm come to 2200 years ago, saying that appears to have what we call Hindu culture, the temples, actual remains of temples, where they're declaring a temple at this point.